When you take the shooting game genre and combine it with the fighting game genre, you get the Senko No Ronde series, and there's a new one now available on PS4 and Steam. But is this game a beautiful bullet ballet, or is it more like a malfunctioning mech disaster? Senko No Ronde 2 is basically an enhanced version of Senko No Ronde DUO, which was originally released in 2010, but only in Japan and Korea. The series has seen a very shaky release schedule here in North America, with the last one being the original that was released on 360. It's basically a fighting game that uses shoot-'em-up mechanics for its actual battling. Instead of just comboing and punching and kicking, instead you're using different styles of firing, laser beams, blast, and even turning into a giant boss-like version of yourself in order to take down your opponent's health gauge and defeat them. The game features 14 different playable characters, and each one has different firing styles and different weapons, so figuring out which character is the best for you will probably take a little bit of time. Some have more steady, consistent fire rates, other ones use electrical fields around them, use homing missiles, machine gun fire, and a blend of all of these in order to make up their arsenal. Each character has 3 different main styles of firing, using the face buttons of X, square, and circle on the PlayStation. These basically work as strong, medium, and weak attacks, and the stronger ones take a little bit of time to recharge before you're able to use them again. You can dash in close to your opponent for a melee combo if you're able to catch them off guard, dash around the battlefield, use a shield, and when you have the ability to, go into your boss form. When you go into the boss mode, you basically become a giant shoot-'em-up boss, and you're able to fire out massive attacks against your opponent. You have a limited amount of time that you're able to stay in this form, and the longer you charge it up, the more health that your boss form will have, and your opponent can end up defeating you in this form. And when you're down to just your last hit, you can go into the final boss form, where you're able to give your last stand and try to take out your opponent, but if they take out your health, you end up losing the match. It takes a while to get used to the combat in the game for sure, and it's one of those things where I recommend doing either a practice mode or the tutorial to kind of get a better hang of things, but it'll still probably take you a while before you start feeling confident in your battles. There are a handful of modes here, including arcade mode, which is exactly what you expect it to be, facing off against a series of opponents back to back to back. You're able to change up some settings like the time of the matchups, the amount of rounds, and of course difficulty. The game features both offline and online versus matches. You can do quick matches or ranked matches and change up a few settings there. There's also the story mode, which is basically an enhanced version of the one from Senko No Ronde DUO, and there's a good amount of story here for sure. It's done in a very visual, novel sense. It has a graph-type system where you're selecting what segment you want to do. When you complete that, it branches off into different parts, and you can choose which part of the story you want to do next. There's matchups that you'll have to do along the way. Here you'll be able to change up the difficulty for the matches. There's a variety of different victory conditions, as well as characters that you'll get to play as. There's also a score attack mode, which is similar to arcade, but your goal is to see how high of a score you're able to get, as well as gallery mode to look at the different portraits and other artwork featured in the game. From the technical side of things, though, the game ran smoothly. I didn't run any major glitching, crashing, or slowdown of any sort. Senko No Ronde 2 is available for $39.99 on Steam and PlayStation 4. On the PS4, it does feature a full trophy list, including a Platinum. Overall, Senko No Ronde 2 is a very interesting game, and it's actually fun, especially if you're going to have some friends to play against. It's a very high price point, though, so unless you're really familiar with the series and very excited to get your hands on it finally coming to North America, it's a bit of a hard recommend for sure, though there is a demo if you want to give the game a try. If the game looks familiar, it may be because you checked out the Toho Genzo Rondo Bullet Ballet, which was released last year, which is basically just a Toho version of the Senko No Ronde series. With everything said, it's a hard recommend, especially at its pretty high price point. There's not a ton of modes here, though story mode is a bit longer than I thought it would be. Unless you're already a die-hard fan of the game, it's really hard for me to recommend it to you. With that said, I'm going to be giving Senko No Ronde 2 a 6 out of 10. But anyway guys, that's going to wrap up this review. I'd like to thank you for watching, and of course I hope you enjoyed.